So, D&D Direct 2023 just happened, like a couple days ago, and by the time this video goes up, probably about a week ago. But the reason this video I think is still relevant is because we are all probably still processing whatever the heck that mashup of D&D news was. So opening shot, we have two people who you may have never seen before. It took me about halfway through my first viewing of the whole thing to realize, oh wait a minute, I know that guy from Dimension 20. The first point that they went over, however, was Minecraft Dungeons and Dragons, which really just feels like kind of a weird crossover. Now, when I watched it with Grace, she said that, yeah, Minecraft apparently does this with a lot of games. I guess I could say it rubbed me the wrong way, that was like the first piece of news that they shared with us. It did just feel like it was misguided. And honestly, that was kind of the theme through the whole D&D Direct, is that it frankly felt directionless. That being said, it is definitely a good move for D&D because it's going to help them tap into the younger audiences and get more people interested in the game, which is great because D&D is the one and only mainstream tabletop game. So Minecraft D&D, it's a good move. Let's move on. Then they showed a clip from the movie and I skipped right over it because I didn't see it yet. I'm actually seeing it like the day after filming it here. I just bought my tickets. It was like $40 for 2 tickets, which feels ridiculous, but I'm going. Then they jumped into this animated music video from JoeCat. Now we're featuring somebody who was really prominent in the D&D YouTube space where they're airing this. So yes, we're actually connecting with the right audience now. All in all, it was a nice jaunty tune that I think a lot of us enjoyed. And then after this JoeCat song, they did mention something very briefly about friendly local game stores having some opportunity to connect some of these millions of new people who are going to see the movie into playing the actual game, like at game stores and live events. But I feel like they just kind of breezed right over that point. And that would have been a really good point to actually focus on, because I know that myself and a lot of us really want to make sure, really want to hear how D&D is supporting friendly local game stores these days. If you know more about what they're doing with that, let me know in the comments. And then they talked about some toys coming out, or I should probably say figures, because the thing about these figures, right, is they are appealing to the same, child Minecraft audience, but then also like weirdly jumping to the audience of people who just collect like really expensive figures. Definitely there's big audiences for both of those, so I can't really, shame on them for that. That's a good move too. Make those toys. That's what Hasbro's like good at, I guess. And along a similar line, then they showed us Magic the Gathering cards featuring characters from the movie. And yes, like Magic the Gathering is a big part of what Wizards does, but this is D&D Direct. This isn't the Wizards Presents thing like they had a couple months ago, whenever that was. And it was right about here that I was realizing I'm watching D&D Direct, and the most directly D&D thing I've seen so far was the music video from JoeCat. And if that feels like a lot of news and things happening, you're right, it is, and they were only like halfway through the video. There's more. Next, they had this interview with R.A. Salvatore, who is the author of all these Driss novels, and actually, it was really funny because they introduced him as
father of the legendary character Driss Duarden.
I don't know if I've ever heard that before, an author being referred to as like the parent of the character they created. So that was just funny to me. And it was cool to hear him talk. It was very inspiring hearing about how he's developed as an author, how he writes the novels. But what was funny here, funny and not funny at the same time, really, was as soon as he came on screen, I saw someone in the comments mention Ed Greenwood, creator of the Forgotten Realms. And shortly after that initial comment about Ed Greenwood, I saw somebody comment, Ed Greenwood is the worst author ever. Okay, like people, it's the internet. People are going to say those kind of things, whatever. But right as I was looking at the comment, it disappeared. Now, maybe that person deleted their comment, but then I was really watching the comments and realizing a lot of comments were disappearing, and then a lot of people were commenting that the mods in this presentation were apparently just deleting like any negative comment. Like, don't get me wrong, I moderate the heck out of my comments. I have a lot of blocked words on YouTube because there's stuff that I don't want to see. It was just basically this weird side conversation happening throughout the presentation that then during the next piece, which was about the VTT, and it felt like this part dragged on for a long time because they really didn't show us that much of the VTT. They showed us these 4 people sitting at the same giant table, all with their laptops up, playing it. People totally use devices at the table. It can be very convenient, especially for new players, so that's totally a valid and cool way to play. That's what I hope the VTT is, just a way to get more people involved, getting them over the hurdles of character creation and knowing all their stats and abilities. When you can just click buttons on a sheet, it's way easier. But again, this presentation was for people who are pretty tuned in to what's going on with the developments already, so I think we all would have appreciated seeing a little more of the VTT in action. But the highlight or low light, whatever it is, of the VTT portion of this for me was when they mentioned
they're on their computers, they're on their phones, they're on their game consoles.
And when they first talked about this, they were like,
we want to make sure that the experience for you is that you're experiencing a miniature set.
The tilt shift camera was really chosen so that people understood that this wasn't a video game.
The point is that they should just be transparent that, yeah, we're taking stuff from the gaming industry and we literally brought in these people from the gaming industry to help us do it and to help us use those tools and technology to elevate D&D. Why can't, like, they should just say that. And there's still like 3 more things. So the next one was a like phony news segment from the WizKids laboratory where some of these figures have escaped. It was like a baby owl bear and a mimic. That's actually an important part of the game for many people. So that was cool, and they presented it in a fun way. That was neat. And now these last 2 things are what I feel like the whole presentation should have been about. They brought on the man himself, Joe Manganiello, so charismatic. I wish they could have just gotten him to present the whole thing. He's probably too expensive, but he did cover how he is either directing or producing or both the D&D 50th anniversary documentary, which is going to go over the whole history of the game and how it has influenced culture, like modern pop culture. I think that's going to be a really fantastic documentary. I can't wait to see it, and I wish like that should have been the first thing instead of Minecraft. And then the final segment is what, again, we probably could have expected to be the entire presentation, because here, and which was literally presented as an afterthought.
That is why it's been such a pleasure to be here today.
Ife and I thank you for joining us here at D&D Direct, but before we go, we have one last piece.
Now they bring out Perkins and Crawford. You know, maybe in addition to like Todd Kenrick. These are the people we expect to see. And they literally shoved them to the very end of this video, but it was worth sticking around for because they reiterated some of the books that are coming this year. The Bigby Giants lore book, they talked about Keys from the Golden Vault again, they talked about the Deck of Many Things book that's going to come out, and still didn't really reveal much about what's going on with that. I think they said it is going to be an adventure though. But the adventure that really had me interested is, as I said when I first talked about the announcements of these books a while back, the Phandelver campaign, because they are finally going to reveal, I think, some of the actual importance of these obelisks that have been dropped into a bunch of D&D 5e campaigns over the last 10 years. I made an entire video about this and how it's going to connect to the other thing that they talked about, Vecna, and how they're going to use Vecna and Planescape and these obelisks to, well, they didn't explicitly say this, but my theory, and I should really say Jordan's theory, because I'm pretty sure he's the first one who kind of put this together, and then I like took it and ran with it a little bit further with how it's really going to be probably what they use to D&D canon justify the switch from 5e to 1D&D, just like they did going from 2e to 3e, specifically with these adventures about Vecna getting into Planescape and really the city of Sigil. So maybe just because I was like personally invested in that topic a while back, it felt very interesting to me to see that at the end of the video, but that was kind of the most exciting news that I got out of the whole thing. And like I said before, I'm well aware that while I personally may not be interested in the figures and the magic cards and, you know, Minecraft to a great extent these days at least, I know that plenty of people watching might well be. So if you're one of those people and you've stuck around through me like joking about this presentation for this long, please let me know in the comments below what was your favorite part. What are you most excited about from this presentation? And also, if you stuck around this long and feel like supporting the channel in any way, remember to like this video, maybe consider subscribing, or maybe consider getting a set of limited edition Bob World Builder dice. There are just about 100 of these 500 sets remaining, so get one before they're gone, but thank you for supporting the channel in any way you see fit, and keep building.